South African drivers are familiar with receiving traffic fines, but some of these fines are never enforced, remain unpaid, or are disputed in a court of law. And motorists like this think that they can get away with breaking the law. On the 1st of July 2021, the AARTO Amendment Act will come into force nationally, changing everything we know about traffic violation enforcement. Are you ready for the impact?
We are going to implement the Demerit system. When you commit a number of offences, you risk losing your driver's license.
Minister of Transport 𝗶𝗵𝗶𝘀 warns South African motorists that they will have to face the strong arm of the law.
Because in South Africa, motorists have got a blank check. They can do as they wish. It doesn't cost them their license. It doesn't cost them anything.
𝗀𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗶, chairperson for the Justice Project South Africa, is a tireless campaigner for ethical and equitable road traffic law and enforcement. He is opposed to the way AARTO, the administrative adjudication of road traffic offences, is being implemented.
What do people ordinarily do when they get a traffic fine in the post? They scrunch it up and they throw it in file 13.
Correct.
But this administrative system, if you do not act, your failure to act then prejudices you.
The JPSA is inundated with requests from motorists unable to sort out their traffic violations, like 𝗀𝗁𝗀𝗃𝗍, a Joburg resident. He was flummoxed when he couldn't renew his vehicle license at the post office.
So I was told to go to the traffic department, where I was presented with an A4 sheet of about 24 enforcement orders in my name.
24?
They were all for the same offence. It was parking outside the Gautrain station. It amounted to about 12,000 rand.
𝗀𝗁 is one of around 4 million drivers who have been guinea pigs under the AARTO pilot study in Joburg and Tshwane since 2008, where traffic violations are categorized into infringements, vetted through an administrative process, and offences, tried through the judicial system.
So if you're caught driving under the influence of alcohol, you're going to be prosecuted in a criminal court.
A parking fine is considered an infringement.
The most significant part of the AARTO Act is migrating road traffic offences out of the realm of criminal courts and into an administrative process, which has unfortunately turned into a huge money-making exercise.
Was there no piece of paper that they left that they said, okay, you've got a ticket?
There was nothing, nothing.
What if I do not get that fine in the mail?
The AARTO Act says it's presumed to be served on the 10th day after it's posted. You may make a written representation that the infringement notice was not served on you.
In 𝗀𝗁's case, he'd never received infringement notices from the responsible issuing authorities, nor the mandatory courtesy letters from the RTIA, the Road Traffic Infringement Agency. Howard advised 𝗀𝗁 that the only way to appeal was via the AARTO website. And after having to submit 24 certified written representations, eventually all of his fines were revoked.
It took me 8 months to get my license. I still had to pay the penalties, even though the enforcement orders were withdrawn.
The purpose of AARTO essentially is to improve road safety and to improve compliance amongst drivers. So the principle behind the introduction of AARTO is something that we support.
Layton Beard is the spokesperson for the AA South Africa.
And the introduction of a demerit system is something that the AA supports. But in its current format, that's where we got the problems that come in.
The legislation provides that if you accrue over 15 demerits, your license gets suspended for 3 months for each point over 15. Demerits are reduced at 1 point every 3 months. Third strike and you're out. Your license is cancelled. The AA favours a stricter threshold of 12 demerits. They say the proposed amendments are geared towards revenue collection and not road safety.
And I'll give you an example. If you're driving with a child in a car and that child is not in a proper child restraint system and you get pulled over, you are going to get a fine, which in this case is 1,500, and you're going to get demerit points against your name. But if you don't update your details with the authorities, you get a 3,000 rand fine. When we look at the schedule of all the fines and the offences and the demerit points attached to that, a serious offence like not wearing a seatbelt, that should carry a very heavy rand fine and it should carry a lot of demerit points. And that's not the case at the moment.
Yes, people are opposed because they say it's a fundraising scheme of government at the expense of the citizens, but it is not. We have decided that it must eat in your pocket to achieve the result, that we focus people on the important part of being safe on the road.
But what happens when the traffic offence is not actually yours? Well, you may be in for a surprise. The consequences of an error could have a serious effect on your driving record.
𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 was astonished when his girlfriend, who we're calling Sarah as she wishes to remain anonymous, had to pay a 750 rand fine on the spot at a roadblock.
A female traffic officer asked my partner for her license disc card, and she said, "Come please, bring your bank card, you have an outstanding infringement."
Just straight to the bank card.
The officer said, "I won't give your card back unless you've paid."
There was no way to get out of that roadblock if she did not pay.
Correct. And I said to Sarah, look, let's jump onto the AARTO website and see if we can see the infringement. Firstly, the image quality on the website isn't the best. The vehicle in the photo is a 4-door sedan, and Sarah drives a 1 Series hatchback BMW. The number plate is relatively close. The H and the N's were swapped around.
That particular infringement carries 5 demerit points. She's paid the infringement, and it wasn't even her car.
So automatically when she paid the 750, she would have gotten 5 demerit points.
Correct.
Sarah has an impeccable driving record, but under the pending regulations, she could easily accrue demerit points unknowingly. Take Kathy. She drives the same route every day, but the speed limit along a stretch of road has been reduced from 80 kilometers per hour to 60. She doesn't notice and exceeds the speed limit by 20 kilometers per hour for 40 days. According to the amendments, it can take up to 60 days to receive an infringement notice, the first time she's made aware of her error. And by then, she's notched up fines totaling 56,000 rand and 80 demerits, enough to have her license suspended for 16.25 years.
That light at the end of the tunnel is a freight train coming towards you. Learn what the AARTO Act is all about, because you will get caught out if you adopt your old habits.
Every step of the way, there are fees for processing documents, orders and actions, starting with the infringement penalty levy of 100 rand.
Just through the infringement penalty levy, for every 10 million infringements that are issued, the system stands to gather 1 billion rand.
The onus will fall on road users to continually check their driving status. We invited Rashawn Daniels to examine his driving record with Howard. The last time Rashawn checked was 18 months ago.
Well, you've incurred 9 traffic fines.
Wow.
Are you in disbelief, Rasha?
Yeah, I can't believe I have more than 2. Howard is scaring me a bit.
Show him the evidence there, Howard.
Feast your eyes on that sunshine. Under the current system, you would have incurred 8 demerit points. And under the new system, you would have incurred 24 demerit points.
Wow.
Under the current system, you would have donated 5,920 rand to the law enforcement authorities.
Yes.
Under the new system, 18,400 rand.
Wow. I can buy a city golf with 18,000.
Would Rashawn have his driver's license right now?
No. To reduce this below 15 points would take 4 or 5 years.
One of the aims of AARTO is to alleviate pressure from the court system. Once a representation has been made and it's been rejected, you will have an opportunity to apply for appeal or review before the tribunal.
And here's this wonderful tribunal comprising of 9 part-time members to preside over around 13 million drivers in South Africa and a further 13 million vehicles. And they're going to replace 714 magistrates' courts.
The bottleneck is going to come in at the appeals tribunal, where you've got millions of these people who are appealing those infringement notices and are awaiting an outcome to that.
We will look at the defects in terms of the AARTO system, and some of the things that we believe that will not work, like what you are pointing at, there's no need to maintain in the system.
And with so much still to get right in AARTO and a looming deadline for July, the minister dropped a bombshell. He plans to change the system even further by shaking things up within the Road Traffic Infringement Agency and the Road Traffic Management Corporation.
I'm looking at even rationalization, which will bring RT under RTMC, because to me it's a duplication.
With all these billions pouring into the fiscus, how much will actually go into improving hazardous road conditions and overall road safety?
We've got currently 14,000 people who die on our roads every year, and unless we address that holistically, we will never achieve our goals of halving the road deaths by 2030. We need a proper demerit system which is implemented correctly and is backed by proper and efficient law enforcement.